because of my passion for online entrepreneurship and in believing the impact we can make if we can all discover our purpose and do what we love, the Passion and Purpose podcast was born. I hope to share more inspiring adventures with you, along with the people who have been there and done that. Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome again here at the Passion and Purpose podcast. I'm so excited to present you a very special guest because he's a special friend of mine, and he's from Malaysia. His name is Chris Durkenderen, but his how should I call it? His name is Jalil Rivers. That's his screen name because he's a singer. And today he just graced this show. He just said yes to me as a favor. So consider this as your Valentine's gift, guys. This is our very special Valentine episode, and we will be talking about passion, purpose, and of course about following your dreams. And we will touch a little bit about his love story because this is a Valentine Day special episode. All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming here today. I am so excited, and I'm so very thankful that you said yes to me.
Thank you, Rush. Thanks very much for having me, and looking forward to this talk today.
Yay, thank you. Chris, can you tell us a little bit about yourself so that your fans and everybody that will be watching or listening to this podcast would know a little bit something about you, something that I don't know about you?
Wow, that's difficult. I think you know a lot about me. But, I'm originally from the Netherlands, born and raised in a little town called Delft, which is close to The Hague, a little bit further from Amsterdam, for those who are familiar with the country. Grew up there till I was about 5 years old, and then I moved with my parents and my sister to the UK for a few years. The reason behind that is because my father was in the oil and gas sector. Now he's retired. And we moved back to the Netherlands, spent most of my youth there until I was 14, when we moved again to the northern part of the UK, to Alberti, Scotland. And then I moved to London to pursue my studies, so my degree in audio engineering. Then back to the Netherlands, and then in 2018, I moved to Malaysia. So I've been on a bit of a journey throughout my past up until now. So basically, my background is in music. So when I was young, I was in various voice groups in the Netherlands, where we toured the Netherlands, Europe, the US, and part of South Africa as well as part of that journey. So that was really a great experience in my younger life. But then as I grew up and studied, my father wanted me to be a bit more serious. So then I went to study, and I found a proper job, I had a family. So I put my music life a bit on the back burner until I came to Malaysia. I'll pause there because I'm sure otherwise I'm going to give away too much already.
Thank you so much. I know about this singing group that you had when you were younger. How is it? Is it baritones or baritones?
So it's the drie Mini-Baritones in Dutch, actually. So it's actually a spin-off of the original group that I was in, that was called the Buddies. And the Buddy was actually a boys group of about 16 young boys performing in the Netherlands, entertaining. We did a lot of TV shows, did a few CDs, and then later on, as we got older, we got an opportunity. So two of my other friends at the time, boy from the Akker and Ruben Dukker, we formed another group which was called the Mini-Baritones. So and then we released the song "A Smile from a Child," which is translated from a famous Dutch singer, Alberti. And then we performed that, and we actually performed that at the Amsterdam Arena for the 50 years existing Volkswagen at the time. So that was like a super massive gig. So you can imagine all of a sudden you're standing in front of this crowd of like 50,000 people in a stadium performing a song like that. So video is actually still on YouTube if you want to Google it.
Yeah, let's give them the link to the video in the podcast as well so they can check it out. So what comes first? Is that the opportunity to be in that group or your passion for singing?
So I think it's always a little bit of both, right? But I think it starts with your passion, right? From a very young age, when I was probably 4 or 5, I started like picking up instruments. Like I had my first little piano, I had my little guitar, and then later on I had my own little studio, and then I started writing my own music. And then there happened to be an ad in the newspaper at the time, because it was a little bit before before like the internet was very developed. And my mother read this article about, oh, we're looking for talented singers or singers that want to join this boys group. So my mum signed me up and said, "Oh, you don't give it a try. I know you like singing, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. Your creativity into doing that." So then I went for my first tryout with the group, and yeah, and then it was a success, I guess, because I stayed on and I really enjoyed it. And we were rehearsing twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays after school time, and then the weekends we would do performances all over the country. Yeah, so I guess it has to start with a passion to be able to actually pursue it, not the other way around. Because if you don't have that passion in the first place, then what's the point of doing it, right?
Yes, yes, and you're very young at that time. How old were you when you started?
Oh, I was 8 years old actually. So at 8 years old, I had to learn to become very independent because we were traveling. My parents weren't around all the time, so obviously we did have supervisors, but it was, yeah, you had to really manage yourself. So it was also that learning curve, getting thrown in the deep end, but also the excitement at the same time that you were able to perform and people looking at you and appreciating what you're doing. So it was very cool. And the fact is that our genre was very mixed. So we sang a lot of Dutch, we sang English, we did Italian. We actually did songs from all over the world. So it was a lot of text to remember, but it gave us quite a broad repertoire to perform at the time.
Amazing. You know how hands-on I am with my daughter, and she's 10 right now, and I can imagine you at 8, and you're already working and doing what you love. And did you have a normal childhood still, despite the travels and the rehearsals?
Well, yes, I think I did because my parents were very strict on me, at least during school, right? They said, "Oh, look, this is your hobby and your passion, but obviously you still have to go through the education and make sure that you get educated." So I had to balance that, right? And it wasn't always easy, especially when I got older and we got more homework to do. But it's a matter of staying focused and doing what is important, but also trying to pursue what you really enjoy at the same time and have that mix. So I guess from a perspective of as a normal childhood, I guess I did, and I was very privileged to be with the parents that I have and raising me the way I am today. Always showing me, okay, you have to balance everything in life to make sure that yeah, that you don't start doing other things that might compromise the rest, right? And for me, always like family is always number one, and making sure that is that is the foundation.
So, Chris, since you grew up as a child, way different, than other kids, how things were you when you were growing up? I mean, did it not get in your head, the success, the fame, and everything? Because right now I can see that you're perfectly young man, gentleman, good husband, and good father. But how was it when you were growing up? How did you manage the fame and everything?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Rush. So I guess, when to be fair, when I was younger, obviously things did get to your head because you think, okay, when you're young, you see the world a little bit differently than when you're older, right? So I guess when I was, especially at the younger years, when I was maybe 11, 12, and we had that success as a group and maybe as an individual, and you maybe get some recognition, obviously, sometimes these things went to your head and you felt like, oh, I'm on top of the world. And sometimes you maybe felt even better than other people around you. But I guess over time, when you get older and look back and you think about that, you obviously know now, oh, that was probably not the right way to respond in some cases. But yeah, it's difficult to say that in hindsight, right? But when you're young as a child, all these things in the world is just different and different perspective. So I guess sometimes it did get to your head for sure. But obviously I learned along the way to take a more humble approach in life and don't take things for granted and yeah, just be yourself. I think that's the most important thing.
Yes, very nice. Thank you so much. But you took up what course in college, by the way? Because I know that you're in engineering right now, right? You're into technology. How was that two related? That is very like two different bananas.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I actually finished high school, I wanted to actually go back into kind of the media side of things. So I took a degree in television productions actually, and then I did a bachelor's degree in audio engineering in the school in London. So at that time, I had actually the opportunity to set up my own business together with my partner at the time, and we started a what they call a post-production studio. So we set up shop in London. We had our own little studio, and we bought all the equipment, and we started writing some music for TV jingles and for computer games as well as sound design. So we did that for about a year. It was a lot of hard work because there was a lot of competition, and at the time I was still relatively young. I was probably 24 or so, and my partner was slightly older. So at a certain point, we started to get some disagreement about certain things in the business, and probably in hindsight that might have been a bit of my fault as well because I was young and naive and thought that the work would just come instead of us going looking out for work. So we had a bit of we had a bit of a fallout, I guess, after that year, and things went a little bit sour. So we decided that we're gonna stop and part ways. So he's continued the business and still running it today. But I decided, oh, I'm gonna go back to the Netherlands. That was obviously where my home was, and I thought I would continue in the Netherlands. So when I came back in the Netherlands in 2007, I rented a little area where I set up a studio, and I did that for about 2-3 months, where I had some bands that were coming in that wanted to do some recordings for CDs. But I just found that wasn't really what I enjoyed doing because often the bands that came, they were actually pretty bad, I guess, in terms of the quality that I wanted to work with. So it was a bit like, I don't know if this is my thing. So then I ended up through my father's colleague who was looking for a few people in the oil and gas. So I ended up in a completely different world, which was going from like being in your own entrepreneurial world into a multinational organization and working in the oil and gas. So that's how I ended up there. I spent most of my career in the Netherlands, in The Hague, in various divisions, and the last one was in the legal IT side. So I was there for about 10 years. And that's how I actually also ended up in Malaysia because in the last year that I was working for Shell, I was put on an assignment to come to Malaysia and to set up in our SBO, or Shared Service Center, a dedicated team of support staff to support our legal division. So that's how the connection to Malaysia actually started.
Wow. So you had your fair share of failure in business, and then you were working in a multinational company after. Didn't you miss, the fun in being in the music industry at that time?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I actually missed out a little bit of a crucial part as well, right? Which actually is part of why I wasn't in that music scene when I came back. So when I came back to the Netherlands, I met my previous partner when I was in the Netherlands, and then we have 3 children, 3 beautiful kids together. So Justin, Stella, and Noah, who I speak with regularly, who still live in the Netherlands. So at that time, obviously the main focus was on starting a family, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone would like to do. So then it was about, okay, what do I need to do to ensure that the family, provide for the family, have food, have shelter, etc. So then your priority switches, right? It's about, okay, I want to have a stable job, build a comfortable life with kids, and be a responsible father, right? So to me at that time, my hobby and passion were probably less important than ensuring that I was there as a father for these children. So that's why I probably kind of put that on the back burner at the time.
Wow. But how did you find your way back? Because right now, last year you produced a song, the Hari Raya, Menjelang Hari Muya. And then, did I pronounce it right?
Yeah, Menjelang Hari Mulia.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, well done, well done.
And right now you are launching another one. So how did you find your way back and what happened in between?
Yeah. So, now, well, in between, obviously, I met my wife, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So, when I moved to Malaysia permanently in 2000, summer of 2018, and then in 2019, in Malaysia, we over the world, the Muslims celebrate the Raya festivity. And then on the radio, just like Christmas, where you hear the same songs over and over again, you have that as well for the Raya season. So my wife and I were actually in the car one day, and we were listening to the radio, and we could hear the same songs coming up all over again, every hour, every 10 minutes. And most 90% of the songs were in my mind pretty dull or maybe a bit dated. Sorry to say this, no offense to the people who wrote it, but and then I just had this idea in my mind all of a sudden, and I said to my wife, "Do you know what? I want to do something different. I want to do a song for Raya and sing in Malay, and see if we can release it, right?" And my wife obviously just looked at me with this look from, "Are you sure? What are you talking about?" Um, so I spoke to my friend when I got home, and I said, "I have this crazy idea about doing this Raya song, and I want to do something completely different. And the gimmick behind it is you have this white guy singing in Malay for Raya." So he said, "Okay, well, this is an interesting idea, but how are we going to pull this off?" So we spoke about it for a bit, and then we said, "Okay, let's see how it goes." And at the time, I was working for a company called iFlix, which is a media company here in Malaysia. And when I was working there, I often got requests via LinkedIn from people who are in the music scene that actually wanted to release their music as part of a movie or something like that, or a video that we were making at iFlix. And one of the people that wrote to me was a very great singer and a good friend of mine who's called Arena Namara. So she's this up and coming talent here in Malaysia and doing very well. And she wrote to me and she sent me a message and she sent me a few links of her songs and the things that she's been up to. So as I went through and listening to, I thought, "Oh, this is pretty cool, and this is an interesting voice to work with for the Raya song." So I just reached out to her and said, "Okay, thanks for connecting." And I pitched the idea to her, and she said, "Okay, let's talk, let's meet up." So a week later, I met up with her and her mum, because she's relatively young, in the Starbucks.
Yeah, she's very young.
Very young, at the Starbucks in town. And then we spoke about this concept of Raya song, and we only had a very small little demo that my friend and I made for her to listen to, and yeah, she liked it, and that's how the ball got rolling, basically. And then we were looking for someone to write the lyrics, and obviously through my wife's connections and friends, we managed to find someone, Selena, who wrote the lyrics for us. So then we had everything. We had the music, we had the lyrics, went to the recording studio, created the track, and then obviously we did a music video.
And COVID came.
And then COVID came. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we had another challenge, right? So the hair was growing long, just like today, because we're still in lockdown. I tried to style it so I look a little bit Italian. And then COVID came, so we had to. But I was so determined. So people around me were saying, "Oh, don't release it. Nobody's going to listen to it, and nobody's in the mood to even celebrate." And but obviously, I was a bit. I was so determined because we spent so much time and energy, and I was so hyped about this song. I said, "Okay, whatever happens, we're just gonna do it and see what happens." So I worked with a production company to do the music video, and initially we had plans before COVID to go into the studio or film on location, do something creative, but then we couldn't. So we had to think of a concept whereby we could actually do a video from our own homes. So we roped in our friends, got them to film with their own camera. We did some directions virtually, then we pulled this video together, which shows a real group of diverse people doing this funky Raya song together. We even had a Zumba teacher who did the dance choreography for us. So, it was amazing how we managed to pull all these friends together and people together to make it a success. And then we released it on Spotify. It was picked up by a few media, by the news. We had some good articles, and then until today, it's actually still being played on Spotify. I actually just checked yesterday. We have about 115,000 streams since we actually first released it in last year. So obviously, Raya is going to come up again. So I'm sure it's going to be played again. So that was the success of that first song and the story behind it.
That's amazing. I was imagining at that time when you were doing it, and you were saying that there is really a bump in the road, and it's really not not the usual way that you're doing the MTV, the music video, but you were able to pull it off, and it turned out pretty great because it was showing different people from different places, from different races too, right? So it was a pretty good thing, even though that there is a COVID and there's a pandemic. You were able to do something extraordinary out of a pandemic. So I really admire what you did there, and the group of friends, the network of friends that helped you, produce that MTV. Now, Chris, tell me about your love life. I'm sure a lot of people are excited to know about your love life, and a lot of ladies are going to be heartbroken when you're going to tell them the story. So please tell us how you and your lovely wife met, and tell us a little bit something cheesy.
Cheesy, huh? Okay, well, I'll start off with how we met. So, as I mentioned earlier, I was put on an assignment for Shell to come to Malaysia. And that was probably summer 2017, actually. So at the time, I had broken up with my previous partner. I was going through a bit of a turbulent time because I missed the kids. I didn't see the kids as often. So we had a bit of a tight struggle. So at that time, I was probably, to be honest, in my lowest point in life, right? So I was down, maybe a bit depressed at some point, and I was just like looking for a miracle to happen, I guess. I think that's cheesy, I guess, but okay, we'll continue. So, and at the time, I thought, okay, well, the only way to kind of get through that, you can either do two things in the situation when you go through that. Either you get dragged down, right, which is easy, or you look at life and you pick yourself up and think about the fact that, life is worth so much more, and everyone deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves to have a great life, and you as an individual are the only one that can do something about that. Regardless of the people around you that can help to support you, ultimately it's you that has to find kind of like that inner strength. Dig deep and look in the mirror and face yourself and say, look, you're going to do this. You're going to get through this. Whatever happens, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and most of the time there always is, right? So if we go in life, we always see these walls that appear up in front of us, and we stop and we struggle. But sometimes you just have to well, actually not sometimes, all of the time you have to remain in that positive state and think about, once that door opens again, there will be light at the end of that tunnel, and it's just a matter of keeping going, staying positive, doing what you need to do to succeed in life. And not everyone obviously is in the same position that I am, and I know that there's more unfortunate people in life that have a much more difficult road to climb. So obviously it's a lot of empathy towards the people around you as well, that matters. So anyway, so at the time in 2017, I decided I'm going to join this this app called Tinder, and I'm not sure if you guys have that.
Oh! I know that.
Rush,
I haven't been there.
No, I'm sure you've been married for a long time already, so we're way past that point already. So
I'm gonna try and create an account and see what's in there. I've been hearing a lot of stories in there.
I don't know if your husband's gonna enjoy that.
I'm gonna tell him the experience. Okay, tell me about Tinder.
Okay, well, for the people that don't know what Tinder is, it's obviously a dating app or matching app where you have a whole bunch of guys and a whole bunch of girls, and you can do a bit of swiping. It's a little bit superficial, right?
Is it free?
You have a free and a paid version. The
Oh.
free version has obviously limited features, and it actually only allows you to have a certain radius of the people around you, right? But when you're on a paid version, you can actually already look for people overseas.
Oh.
So that's what I did. I went onto this paid version of Tinder.
You paid, okay? Interesting.
Don't,
Sorry.
don't tell anyone, right? Don't tell anyone. So I paid. I know it was a bit naughty, I guess, but I paid because I wanted to see what is on the other side of the world. I've never been to Malaysia. It's the first time. So I thought, okay, I'm going to experience something new, right? So it was also a bit of that excitement, I guess, at the time, right? So I went to the paid version, and how Tinder works is basically it's a matching of people, right? So you swipe on your phone. To the right is basically the pictures that you like. To the left is the ones that you reject. And if the same person that you swipe right also swipes you right, you get a match. So then you see that there's a match in your little inbox thingy. So then you have the opportunity to connect. That you can actually write to people.
If you don't match, you can't message the other person.
Exactly. It's only when there's a match. So there has to be a kind of a mutual agreement in that way, right? So so I was going through that, and Piao, my wife, was one of those matches. So we chatted. So we started talking a little bit on the app itself, and then we eventually moved over to WhatsApp because it was easier to communicate with after a while, and we just had an amazing we just had really good conversations, and we had same interests. We had a lot of fun. We laughed together, and this was actually 3 weeks before I actually was flying out to Malaysia. So I already was making so I was already establishing this connection before I actually came to Malaysia.
Did you do that on purpose, or you just like her and she happens to be in Malaysia?
I don't believe things happen on purpose. I think things are fated, Rush. So this was meant to be, right? But obviously,
now that's cheesy.
It's true. It was meant to be. If I didn't decide at that point I'm going to go on Tinder and explore, I would have never found her. So I mean, things happened for a reason. The timing was right, and so forth, right? So, anyways, going back to the story. So 3 weeks before I came out, I met her. We spoke, and we started doing the video call. Then we chatted a bit more. And obviously, she knew I was going to come to Malaysia for a week because I had to come for work. So we met up. So when I came to Malaysia, the same day, I think we met up, and we went to this really cool little club in KL called Suzy Wong, which is kind of like a Moulin Rouge style kind of bar. We just had a great connection, and so anyways, so we spent that week together. We had a lot of fun. She showed me around KL, but obviously, after that week, we didn't know how things were going to end up, right? Because I live in the Netherlands, she lives here. I have a life there, she has a life here, so we kind of went with the flow, and I knew that I was going to have to come back anyway to Malaysia for more work and a second round of what I needed to do. So, we just kind of said, okay, let's see the next time when I come, see how things go. And then I was supposed to come in September or August, but that time it didn't work out. But then I came in October, and then I decided to extend my work travel a few weeks to spend some time with Piao, like on holiday. So that's what we did. And then she came to the Netherlands because she wanted to explore the Netherlands and be there as well. So she came to the Netherlands for a week. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to marry this woman. After half a year, on the 7th of January 2018, I booked a hot air balloon in Putrajaya, which is just outside of KL, and then I flew her up at sunrise, and then I asked for her hand in marriage.
Now that's cheesy.
I know that's cheesy, but it's a hot air balloon. Every woman thinks that's romantic. Trust me.
It is.
So then in that same year, in October, we got married.
Wow.
And that's
And they probably don't know PL, but I know PL pretty well, and I know that she really deserves to be happy. You know, PL and I were working together since 2015, and the work stopped because she, had to work in a different industry. But then when we came back together, when the two of us got connected again in 2000, I think 2018, she's already married, and I didn't know. And thank you for sharing that lovely story of yours. But how was Pial when you were courting her, or when you were in that stage?
How was she?
Yeah, I mean, was she
In
really
what sense?
into you, or you're having a hard time? Are you trying to, court her? My idea of courting here in the Philippines is that the guys has to really, show the girl affection and time. But you're in the other country, and she's in Netherlands
No,
and
you're
Malaysia. It's
right.
so far.
So you're right. So that obviously that the challenge was the long distance, right? So that wasn't easy. So that was a barrier that we had to work through. But we spoke almost every day, even if it was just for 10 minutes. And I woke up in the middle of the night, as she early in the morning, just to say hi, good morning, or good night, and speak in the morning again. But I think the way how we kind of kept things going is that we always planned ahead. So we always had a goal. So we always said, okay, as soon as I get back to Netherlands, I'm gonna already book my next trip, right? To
Nice.
Malaysia. Yeah. So you already had a goal. So you already knew it's not gonna end. There's something to work towards. But to be fair, I struggled with like even a month in between of being away with her, right? So I was very happy once I actually made that move from Malaysia. I mean, it was a difficult decision because obviously I had to let go of a lot in the Netherlands, right? So my friends again, and the toughest part is the children, right? So up until today, I obviously still miss them because it's different when you speak to them or are with them physically, right? So I try to make the effort to go back as much as I can, but obviously because of the COVID period, I haven't even been able to go back to the Netherlands to go and see them. So I hope that when things get better this year, that I'll have the opportunity to go and visit the little ones again. So
Yes, but how did you decide that you're going to stay in Malaysia? Or did Pial also consider that she and the kids are going to Netherlands instead? How did you compromise?
So we did speak about that in the beginning. So Piao has two kids from a previous marriage also, and they were already in the education system here and going to school, and they're doing well. And Piao's mom and the family lives here as well. So it was more about, I think Piao wouldn't have minded so much to come to the Netherlands. She's quite adventurous, although that she probably wouldn't enjoy the weather. She doesn't like the cold. So
Yeah.
that would probably be her struggle. But I think in terms of living in Europe, I mean, she did it before when she was studying in the UK. But it was more for the kids here as well that we decided, okay, it's better to stay here. And plus, I love being in the sun. I love living in Malaysia. I think it's a great place to live. So we really have a great life here, and we're very thankful for what we have.
I feel like you sacrificed a lot, but you gained a lot in the process.
Yeah, no, obviously with gaining something, there's always a bit of sacrifice, but it's a matter of how you put that into perspective, right? I mean, I think together as a couple, you can manage many things than individually, right? So it's having each other's back, showing that support, and she knows sometimes when I struggle and miss the kids, I have my down days. She'll be there to lift me up, or when she has a bad day at work or something has happened, I'll be there to pick her up. So it's having that partner who is there for you and supporting you through whatever you're going through. That really helps, and that's what counts.
Yes, that's right. Plus, you found your way back into your passion, which is, of course, we'll go back to your second single, or do you call it a single? A second song?
Yeah, second single. So this second single is going to be released on Valentine's Day. And it's actually a music video that I did together with Piao. So it's me and her. Some people say it's cheap talent. I just say, well, that's my love, so I'll bring her into the video.
It's not cheap. PL is very beautiful and she dances
No. I
very
don't
well.
mean it. I don't mean it that way, right? I don't mean cheap. I mean, cheap if you have to hire a talent,
Yeah.
then it will cost you money, right? So
Yeah.
it's not a negative thing. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that she's in the video, and so the song is called "Because I Like You, I Do," and this is a more of a pop hit that I wrote together with Niels, my friend, and again being released. It's going to be out on Spotify. And obviously, we're going to try and push it as far as we can so that people can tune in and listen to it and hopefully enjoy it.
Yes, and I saw the part of the video. I was able to listen to it, and there is that, what do you call it? You can remember the song and the music pretty well. What do you call it? The last song syndrome. It has that effect on me. So maybe can you sing a line or two, and then maybe on Valentine's Day when it's released, I will help push the video to our audience so they would also be able to listen and see the whole MTV.
You're going to ask me to sing?
Yeah. Am I asking too much?
That's such a cheesy laugh.
Yeah.
Hey, we're sitting in the sun, so let's go celebrate this one and we can dance all night. 'Cause I like you, I do.
Yay! Awesome. I'm sure they would love the whole music once they hear it when it's out there in Spotify and also in iTunes. I will be personally sharing it to everyone in my following, and I'm sure Chris, they know you because in my class, for those who doesn't know me, I'm also into digital skills training, and Chris and I did this short video together in the hopes of sharing the Filipino audiences, the Filipino students who wanted to become virtual assistants, on how clients wanted their virtual assistants to be. So they kind of know Chris a little bit better, and they know him as Jalil River, of course. So today, I am just so happy that you guested in this podcast, and we talked about your love story and your passion and your business. Is there any other plans in the future that you wanted to do more of? Is there any other businesses that you wanted to launch or something?
And besides the music?
Yes, maybe there are still others that people can watch out for.
So from a music perspective, obviously there will be more songs. I'm working on a Chinese New Year song for next year.
Wow.
We're actually doing a re-release of the Hari Raya song because there's been some interest from a company who wants to do something with the song featuring a few artists from Malaysia. So that will be coming out in a few months' time as well. And there's one special thing that I really wanted to do, and it's always kind of been on my bucket list. I want to do a song for weddings, like a wedding song that you can play, and when you walk your partner down the aisle, that special song for your partner.
Very nice.
So that's from a music perspective. From a work perspective, I'm always doing a lot of things. Besides my regular job, I'm also doing work in what they call robotics process automation. So I run a company here together with a few people that basically look at, it's a little bit boring probably for your listeners, but it's more about digitalization and optimization and transformation within different industries.
Wow, robotics and then music. How are they going together?
They don't. They honestly don't. This is the thing, right? You always have to have a few different things that you'd like to dip your toes in, right? So I learned that from Piao, right? So Piao's a very energetic person who has lots of ideas, wants to try different things, and she keeps me on my toes, and she said, "Oh, try this, try that." And I think that's also, credit to her for, I guess, this whole thing with bringing back the music, and is also her drive and passion, what she does, and encouraging me to do that. So I guess that the point to that is if you're with someone in a relationship that can really help and boost what you're doing, I think that's really an important thing as part of a relationship.
Yes, that's what's really great about relationship is that you're not just there, to make each other feel loved. You're there to help each other grow. and pick each
100%.
other up. Yeah, that's right. Because if we're not focused on growing ourselves, the relationship will be stagnant. There wouldn't be, any fun in that if you're just there. And what I like about the two of you, besides that you two look great together, is that I can see the passion in the both of you. PL is very passionate about what she does in women empowerment and coaching and about marketing, and you in the music industry and the robotics industry. Even though they're kind of hard to marry, the robotics and the music. I still can't wrap my head around it, but it's really great seeing you together, doing the things that you love and then doing business together. And I hope that as much as I'd want to, keep talking to you and discussing things, but we need to keep this episode for at least an hour, more or less. So is there any other things that you wanted to say, like a parting message to your audience? Is there anything that you can say to them about love, about passion, and business?
Yeah, so firstly, thanks, Rush, for the opportunity and speaking. I mean, it's always great fun talking to you, and I know that we could probably continue this for hours on end, but obviously,
Yeah.
we have to cap this at some point. But I guess, I hope that, my story brings some inspiration to you, to the listeners out there that actually also have a passion. It doesn't have to be music, it could be anything, right? People like arts, people like sports, whatever that may be, is that it's that you must continue to fight for what you love, and keep on doing what makes you happy, right? Ultimately, you're responsible for your own happiness, not anyone else, right? So from that perspective, keep on doing what you're doing, and do your best, right? It's hard work to keep on pursue your passion, but I always believe that hard work prevails and leads to better things. That's probably more from a passion side. I think when it comes to love, I'm not a matchmaker, but I believe that for everyone there's somebody out there. Sometimes it takes a bit longer to find. I went through a previous relationship for 7 years, which unfortunately didn't work out. But now I've met the love of my life. So sometimes, you miss in the first round, but you could be lucky in the second round. So it's a matter of putting yourself out there and being open for whatever comes your way, and just enjoying life and what you have.
Very beautiful. And I know that you two have a great relationship together. And I wish you all the best, Chris. And thank you so much again for gracing the show. Everyone, thank you so much for watching or listening to the Passion and Purpose podcast. And please join us once again next week, next Thursday, for another amazing episode. And I will be playing Chris's or Jalil's music on Valentine's Day. So please watch out for that. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks a lot, guys. Love you.
We'll be sipping in the sun, so let's go celebrate this one. Woke up this morning knowing something about today. I've got this feeling about you. There's whispers of a party tonight by the bay. Let's go. I've got a feeling about that too. Ooh, I've seen the way you move. It's something that you do that's hot like the sunshine. Ooh, juxtaposition you, dripping with cool. Call up your friends, it's time. This summer we don't wait for luck. This summer we build ourselves up. This summer we're gonna be free. This summer we party all night till the morning colors the sky. This summer we're just gonna be. We'll be sipping in the sun, so let's go celebrate this one, and we can dance all night, cause I like you. We can dance all night, cause I like you. We'll be sipping in the sun, so let's go celebrate this one, and we can dance all night, cause I like you. We can dance all night, cause I like you. You've got this magic that's impossible and free. Yeah, it always draws me in. Let go of everything that we no longer need. Turn it up, and let's begin. Ooh, I've seen the way you move. It's something that you do the sun, so let's go celebrate this one and we can dance all night, cause I like you. We can dance all night, cause I like you. Ayo, we'll be sipping in the sun, so let's go celebrate this one and we can dance all night, cause I like you. We can dance all night, cause I like you. Follow me, let's go to the left and slide real slow all night, cause I like you. We can dance all night, cause I like you. Follow me, let's go to the right and slide real slow all night, cause I like you. Dance all night, cause I like you.
I've got this feeling that you and me dancing. That's something no one else can take from us, yeah. Something no one else can take from us, yeah. I've got this feeling that you and me dancing. That's something no one else can take from us. So everybody celebrate with us.
Follow me, let's go to the left and slide real slow all night, cause I like you. We can dance all night, cause I like you. Follow me, let's go to the right and slide real slow all night, cause I like you. Dance all night, cause I like you. Ayo, we'll be sipping in the sun, so let's go celebrate this one. We can dance all night, cause I like you. We can dance all night, cause I like you. I do.
Thank you for listening to the Passion and Purpose podcast. Join us next week for another inspiring adventures.